unlocking the value of your NFTs without selling them. That's what this game is all about. This interview here is with Fluid Tokens. I have Raul and Matteo joining me on the episode to talk all about the aspects of their platform and what they're trying to do with unlocking that potential and creating this borrowing and lending platform using NFTs as collateral. Absolutely amazing. Novel idea. Absolutely love it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast.
I have the pleasure of talking to two really cool guys that have put together a really interesting lending platform. And we've seen lending platforms in the Cardano ecosystem pop out, but this one's different in that you can use your NFT as collateral for your loans. And they're doing a lot more things around this as well. Gentlemen, Matt, Raul, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Hey, Pete.
All right. So I've been watching Fluid Tokens for a very long time. As soon as the white paper came out, I was pretty excited about it. I had a quick read over it and thought, wow, this is absolutely amazing. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about both of your backgrounds and how we got to this point and this idea and concept of using NFTs as collateral and how the whole platform works as well. So Matt, could you talk a little bit about your background and how you're involved in the Cardano ecosystem?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in, working and studying about Cardano in 2019. So more than almost 3 years ago, when Cardano was at the very beginning, they were working on it, but there was no a wide adoption. A lot of things were still under, work in progress. So I was able to actually see the evolution of Cardano during this year and all the progress and the milestones that this blockchain actually reached and is going to reach in the next months too. So, so we've been there since the very beginning when the space was early and also, for example, the NFTs were not here yet. The smart contracts were not here yet. So I started basically for my thesis in university at the very last year. So I work on Cardano on a different programming language as an alternative, more easier for Haskell. So it was the very beginning. Now Bluetooth is much better than it was. So it's a different context. And I've been involved in many famous and known projects on Cardano from all the types, from NFTs to DeFi to the metaverse. So I love the whole ecosystem in all the possible aspects. And when we decided to create Fluid Tokens, it was just another, step for Cardano trying to enrich the ecosystem.
That's absolutely awesome. And you do have quite an interesting resume, I guess, in terms of projects that you've worked in the past. And I think that's what attracted me to Fluid Tokens as well. And if anyone's interested, they can check out your profile on LinkedIn. I'll put a link down below in the show notes. But Raul, what about yourself? How did you get into the Cardano ecosystem and how did you end up on this project?
So I was already in the blockchain space. I was coding for some projects like IOTA, mainly related to my real life job, that is electronic engineer. And while I was developing, I met Matt. He introduced me to the Cardano world and what were the benefits of Cardano blockchain. And in the end, just for playing around, I downloaded Cardano node and started to check it by myself. It was really early, May 2021. So there were no smart contracts yet. NFTs were really early, like Space Buds came 1 month before. So it was really at the beginning of the NFT story. And I kept learning and reading documentation by myself, learning new stuff every day. And in the end, I started to help some projects to mint NFTs. And I also did some of them with my friends. It was really a cool environment and the community that we found. They were really pretty hyped and helped a lot, each of us. They showed us how to do things properly. And in the end, when smart contracts arrived and reached Cardano, everything was something still early, but me and Matt, luckily, started to work with that. Matt was able to code smart contracts by himself, and I was able to test them on Cardano node, thanks to the experience I got with it. And now almost every day I write something new lines of code and new work for Cardano, and it's really something that I like.
You guys are quite lucky that you had that experience and being able to tap into smart contracts at an early stage. So your experience with smart contracts, Matt, and Raul, your experience being able to interact with the Cardano blockchain itself through the nodes and whatnot, and experience through minting NFTs, etc. And you also mentioned a little bit earlier there that you played around with IOTA. It's actually one of the blockchains that I've played with as well in the very early days, setting up the nodes. And I think I still got a lot of, what was the token called? I can't remember. It had a different name.
Yeah, I also did. But I was waiting for the smart contracts era at the moment, at that time, and it was still a bit lack of the documentation. So in the end, I gave up.
Yeah, I moved away as well, unfortunately. But we all get experience in playing around different things. So what exactly is Fluid Tokens? For anyone that hasn't seen or understands exactly what the platform is, can we get a rundown of what Fluid Tokens is and what you're trying to achieve with it?
So Fluid Tokens, in simple terms, at least at the beginning, is a platform that is completely open and decentralized, where people in the Cardano ecosystem can lend and borrow ADA, using their NFTs and their also fungible tokens as form of collateral for requesting some loans. So it's a peer-to-peer approach where lenders check all the available loans created by borrowers, and the ones that they think are good, they choose them, and then they lend. They require ADA through the smart contracts. So the borrower can use those ADA for other, DeFi strategies, or even traditional financial strategies, or to, play around with buying and selling NFTs. Different people have different reasons to request loans. And on the lender side, of course, the reason is to get an interest when the loan basically ends, after the agreed amount of time of each loan. So this is the very simple idea of Fluid Tokens, but what is going to become, it will be more like a big ecosystem of DeFi services that are open and governed by the community itself, not by some few people that can, change and shut down the platform anytime. So we are very focusing on this concept here, because the DeFi space in Cardano has a lot of potential that still has to be discovered, and we hope to see it in the next months. And we want to be part of this new change for Cardano, so these new services that can enrich the ecosystem and allow people to do more with their assets. So, of course, you have ADA and tokens, but you also have NFTs that hold often a big value, and a lot of time you don't want to sell them. So a good way to basically get more liquidity without having to sell them is requesting a loan. And this can be, composed with a lot of different DeFi services in the future, not strictly from Fluid Tokens, from any kind of DeFi, and creating that composability idea, right? So creating complex strategies, moving a lot of assets in almost, I say, an automatic way, or a very efficient way at least.
Very interesting. I'm kind of interested in where this is going to evolve to, especially when these strategies become a lot more complex rather than just buying and selling tokens. So, but let's go back to the core basics. And this is what really attracted me to the platform. I have a collection of NFTs. I've been collecting from the very early Cardano NFTs, Space Buds. As soon as it came out, I thought, I'll throw 60 or 90 ADA at it and see what happens. And I've got this beautiful Space Buds, which I don't ever want to sell, but of course it's worth apparently worth something, but not really worth anything until I sell it. But I want to keep it. So I'm very torn here. But to be able to put that on a marketplace and get a loan for it temporarily and get some ADA out of it, which I can use to yield farm somewhere else on a DEX, for example, earn a little bit of extra tokens and then pay that back afterwards. So fingers crossed the asset still is worth something and I remember to pay it back on time. So I absolutely love the idea and concept of unlocking that value to be able to do something and earn elsewhere. So it's a very simple thing, but very, very powerful. How are you finding the platform being used at the moment? Is that purely what people are doing at the moment? Are they playing around with more interesting concepts at the moment, or just purely borrowing and lending assets to do that kind of strategy?
Well, yeah, we are very early in the development of the platform itself. The platform is strong and has already a very good user experience from what the community says, but we try to reach every community member to get a good feedback about the platform and what kind of mechanics they are using the platform for. Yeah. So a lot of people have different strategies. Sometimes people buy an NFT that when the floor price goes below a certain threshold, and then are ready to, they know it will appreciate again, and so they will create a loan there. Or other people do kind of big movements with ADA amounts during the daily movement of the price, and then they can repay the loans with the interest, etc. So there are actually a lot of different approaches. And also we see that a lot of people decide differently which NFTs are considered more safe than others. So there are people that, for example, only want space bats, or other people that only maybe want space bats, chill kongs, and that's it. Or other people that have a big portfolio of NFT considered valuable. So the whole idea of the platform is to keep the whole approach open, so everybody can create a loan with any NFT. But at the same time, we need to protect the users from fakes. So from any NFT that can be, you can upload an image of a space bus, but it's not a space bus there. And for this reason, we have a community-oriented approach for verification of NFT collections. So when the NFT collection is requested by the community and is approved by the community itself, and the history of the collection is safe, so it's not like a new collection that is born yesterday, but it has some history and different amount of holders, then we immediately release an update to the platform with that NFT collection verified. So people immediately know that this is trusted and is not a fake asset, and you can safely lend any amount of ADA depending on your strategy.
Yeah, I was interested on working at how would you know that it's a safe NFT to provide a loan to. So you're looking at all these various NFTs that people are putting up as collateral for loans, but how do you pick which one? And that verification is one indicator. So you know that it's a verified project. But what happens if someone puts in like a really weird values for the loan for an NFT that's not worth much, and they're asking for a lot of ADA or something like that? How does a lender protect themselves from a bad loan request on the platform?
That's actually a good question. The problem, the main issue is that if we place several filters on what you can and can't do on the platform, we are creating a centralized application, not a DeFi service. Because in that way, we are deciding, how much you can ask for that NFT, how much time you can have this loan available for, and stuff like this. We are giving some big limits, so people can actually do almost everything. For now, for example, the amount of time you can request, the max is 90 days, which is a lot for NFTs because the price of any collection can fluctuate a lot in 90 days. But we are allowing that because maybe there are some very, very important deals that are safe. For some are safe to actually accept as a lender. Maybe for when you have some bundles of very important NFTs. So if you have, for example, 10 space bus in one low request, which are considered very expensive, right? Maybe some very rare ones. And then maybe you want to accept 90 days because 3 months are not too much for the space bus collection. So we are keeping that open. But at the same time, there are two important parts to protect the lenders. One is the education. So lenders, before they lend, they should know how the platform works and how the NFT game works, and what should they look for when they have to decide if accepting or not a loan, right? And the second point is we are going to release in the next hours a sort of guidance. So it's an algorithm that can be tuned by the community itself of Fluid tokens that more or less gives a score to the loan. So it's not like mandatory, but it's a starting guideline for immediately seeing if something is off. So if you see a low score, you immediately start thinking, why does this have a low score on the platform? But it's not like the unique thing. So at the end of the day, the lender has to check, even if the score is good or if the score is bad, has to check the details of the loan, because even if we do a very good algorithm, the automatic things are not always perfect. So it's important to always do your research, and maybe some scores that seem bad in reality are not, but this is a limit of the algorithm, at least as of is now, right? So this is kind of, we are trying to help the lenders and the borrowers in the experience without, banning or filtering stuff without their consent. So giving guidelines for a good experience, but allowing the freedom that the blockchain is made for.
That makes sense. I do like those little indicators just to help users through the space, because it's a very niche market. Like when you think about it, so one, like you mentioned, it has to be someone that knows about the NFTs. So it has to be someone that is interested in Cardano NFTs in the space and also plays around with DeFi as well. So that really narrows down the field of users that would use the platform. How do you plan to grow that to expand out to more users? I'm assuming that number, that user base is quite low at the moment. What kind of growth strategies can you do to actually attract more users into the space and provide NFTs as collateral and provide loans to it?
Yes, so that's a tough question. There is not a simple answer, because, okay, let's stay only in the Cardano environment, right? Because any kind of plan to go cross-chain is surely on the roadmap, but it's not in the near future. For now, we have more important things to do for helping Cardano itself. So the thing is, when NFTs were created at the beginning, no one actually knew about it. Or, on Ethereum, for example, when they were born, some NFT were made, but the concept itself was not so community adopted at the beginning. Very few people actually knew this standard existed and stuff like this, the ERC-721, right? And but after like a year or something like this, then the boom of NFTs trend actually was born on Ethereum, and a lot of collection were born. And DeFi has already had some good trends in the last years on other blockchains. For example, layer 2s on Ethereum or Ethereum itself, right? But Cardano still has almost nothing. We have the DEXs, we have some platforms that are starting to do it, but because the progress of Cardano is slow but steady, we still don't have a very rich DeFi ecosystem. The idea is we want to be there when people will start to love the DeFi ecosystem of Cardano, and when, for example, we will integrate with metaverses. So the idea, we have NFTs as a collateral for the lending, and NFTs are very near the metaverse concept. So for example, we want to provide in-metaverse experience for borrowing and lending and doing operations with your finance on that. So it's more like we want to be early players in the DeFi game because we know we can provide a big value to Cardano now, because our experience in Cardano gives us the ability to create something great, even if now it's very early. You cannot wait, for the exact moment to create it. Otherwise, you're already late, for example.
Yeah.
And if we deliver already these kind of services, we can learn more and have more experience when the general adoption will happen, and we will have a huge experience. We will not do any kind of, for example, user experience mistakes that we do now, maybe because there are very few people and we get less feedback and stuff like this. So we keep improving the platform and the concept itself, knowing that, now we are in a bear market, for example. A lot less people are actively doing stuff on blockchains. And it's normal because we have cycles in the blockchain environment and they're very huge. But there is no reason actually to stop believing in the blockchain technology, stop believing in Cardano potential, on the work that is being done. And this is why all the big projects that we know around Cardano are still building. They are not like staying still. They know that the bear market will end one day, probably, hopefully soon. But
hopefully.
and that innovation does never end. I mean, blockchain is the very top of the technology frontier in the whole world. So blockchain is one of the very latest and unknown things that you can use, and so the innovation is strong. What you do 1 month before will be probably different respect to what you will do 1 month after. So it's better to stay in the game as much as possible and to understand how to provide good value to the people that use Cardano. So a good way to allow them, for example, to get liquidity without selling their NFTs. Or when they started saying, okay, I have 10 important NFTs, I want to ask more, but I have to create 10 different loans, we created bundles. So on free tokens, you can use bundles. You can create them and request higher amounts of ADA for them because you have like 10 important NFT, for example, or a whole estate of a metaverse. So we try, the development of the platform depends on the community feedback. We prioritize what the community needs more until we meet the general, need that everybody probably will want to use.
Sounds like you're very primed and ready for the next bull market. And I absolutely love the passion there and, the dedication to build during hard times. To be ready for when everything is on a bull market again. So it's definitely the passion and the belief there behind the project. There are some interesting aspects which I'd like to follow up there. And one is like the revenue model for the business. Like you're paying for Cardano nodes at the moment, servers and everything else around it. You got bills to pay. So how is the platform making money? I'm assuming there's something like fees or something in there. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So for example, let's consider only the main service, the one that is about lending and borrowing with NFTs and fungible tokens. When the borrower repays the loan, so the lender gets his own money back plus the interest. The platform itself gets a small fee of the whole process, only from the borrower though, because the lender is already taking a risk for borrowing, lending money that he may lost if the borrower doesn't repay in time. And so for this reason, we don't apply any fee to the lenders, but we apply a small fee to the borrower. And the idea is that this fee will be lower the more you will have of our platform token, which still has to be issued because we are working with the legal entities to properly issue a token and not doing in any illegal way. That is often the case, unluckily. So, but it takes some time. And And the idea is the free tokens will be a tool that you can choose not to use, but if you have it, you get discounts on all the services. So, for example, the platform fee in this case will be much lower the more token you will have.
Gotcha. Okay, now that makes total sense. And yeah, and this the token itself, the platform's called Fluid Tokens. I'm assuming there's a token. What is the timeline looking like for people to be able to actually get this token? And I'm assuming it's a governance token with that utility for the fees. Can you talk a little bit about the utility? So timeline and utility.
Absolutely. Yeah, the timeline is probably around the next 3 months. So we don't have like an exact date. We are trying to, it really depends not on us, but on external entities. So as soon as we don't, wait for their, not approval, but their work, at least we cannot immediately proceed. But the tokenomics is finalized and we did our best to make it very balanced and very democratic. So to avoid waves and stuff like this. Dumps and pumps, or period where vestings, for example, go finish and a lot of dumps can happen. So we try to avoid everything of this kind of mistakes. And the utility itself of the token will be two-sided. One is for the governance of the whole ecosystem. So deciding the parameters, if we have to change parameters, if in the future which NFT collection to set as verified or to set as not verified anymore because maybe they are not, they did something wrong or stuff like this. The parameters are very important, both of the on-chain and the off-chain code, because, the Cardano situation may change during the month and parameters must be tuned, but we don't want to do it directly. We will ask to the DAO who will own the token to actually vote and decide which parameter and how much should change. And on the other side, the token itself has an utility inside in all the service that we're going to provide. So giving some kind of discounts, some kind of prioritization. So nothing that asks you to own the token. You can use the same services without the token itself, but using the token will grant you some benefits that will make the token valuable.
Gotcha. And if you get those tokens early on, it kind of really helps because I'm assuming you'll get them at a cheaper price. And as the platform evolves and gets more popular, it's more desirable to have those tokens. Cool. All right. Very, very interesting. Now, who is the team behind it? We've got you two here, but I know there's more people behind the team. Can we talk a little bit about the team and their roles within the platform?
Besides me and Matt, who are the core developers, the one that see the matrix itself of the smart contract, we have Alice and Odog. And Alice is a girl from Mexico. She is actually the serialization leap developer. So once we finish the smart contract, she's in charge of putting that code together in order to integrate it in the dApp. The process is not so easy or so smooth, and that's why we chose her because she's a Plutus pioneer. So she finished the second cohort of the Plutus Pioneer program, and instead we have Odog who is our UI UX designer. He's the one that makes the dApp so clean, so smooth. And the experience of the user is actually pretty nice, I would say, in the dApp. And I really appreciate both of them for their passion, their work, because I think we are a really good team together, putting our work and helping each other.
They've definitely really good contributors to the platform. It really adds, the four of you really piece together all the aspects that you need to make it really good. Now, the last thing I like to ask is like partnerships that you have on the platform itself. Like, are you working with any NFT projects or any accelerators that you have there to help the platform grow?
Yes. So regarding the partnership, at the moment we are partnered with the Genius X Accelerator. They are providing a lot of mentorship, but not just that, also tools for instance, the legal entity, ISPO, and so on. And they have been really helpful, also giving us some marketing strategies. They helped us during the auditing of our Twitter account, giving us some feedbacks. And one of these feedback, for instance, was reach out NFT projects, because NFT projects have communities and we want to reach most of the community. So not just NFT projects, but also DeFi projects. At the moment, we have an important partnership with the DJed from Coty, because we would like to integrate loans also made with stable coins, because that would be even would give more benefits to the user, because you can ask for a loan in ADA, but the value could change over the time. Instead, if you ask for stable coins, once you ask it and you repay, the value keeps the same. Regarding NFTs, at the moment, we have a long queue of projects, but one of the last one is, for instance, Yummy Universe, Boss Cat Rocket Club, and many more that we want to reach in order to showcase what we can do for the community and what we are offering actually for them.
Well, the two names that you dropped there, I'm quite excited about. I'm quite passionate about a Yumi Universe and also a Boss Cat Rocket Club as well. So two of my highlight projects in the NFT space on Cardano. And I cannot wait for stable coins to come out, a more widely adopted stable coin that you can see across all DeFi and platforms, lending platforms such as yourselves, because it will give like that stability in price, especially in this bear market at the moment. Cannot wait for that to come out. Would you happen to have any idea when that may happen? Since you have that partnership there, you must know something.
We have the partnership, but we cannot say much, unlikely.
Right.
You will have to ask them, but the answer is soon.
Yep. As soon. That's what I get from everyone.
Yeah,
okay.
We wouldn't make the partnership if the plan was like too far in the future. But we cannot reveal any actual, date or month, because it's their responsibility. We don't want to, even say something that may have changed since last time we talked with them. So it's better to ask them directly. And it's very important that they do it properly. So it's better if they take a little bit more, but everything is in place. We don't want to have other stable coins that go down as we saw on Terra. So we definitely need to have a stable coin that is safe and is resistant to any kind of fluctuation. So I prefer to actually wait a little bit more, but be sure that it's there and doesn't depeg immediately, right? Or something like this. We need to have a strong stable coin.
Yes, you do not want any depegging of a stable coin. We saw a little bit with some other platforms as well, but yeah, we don't want that happening. So take your time, please. But you guys are pretty much ready for whenever that happens, right? You guys are ready.
It's already there. My contract is ready.
Okay. All right. Cool. Excellent. Excellent. All right. This has been absolutely fantastic. How can people get started, learn a little bit more about Fluid Tokens?
They can reach out in the Discord, for example. They can jump. So we will provide a link to join anytime. It's a very good community. They're very supportive. We are always there to help. So you can talk directly to the team for any kind of question. We have a link of the documentation. We are trying to build a good documentation to let anyone learn from the very beginning to the most advanced stuff. And we have the platform itself, so you can jump on fluidtokens.com and check it out yourself. And of course, we have the Twitter account where you can, we can follow all the news we are actually posting daily. So it's a very good way to support us and to know all the details, have the news before the general, public, and etc.
Brilliant. Okay. highly recommend the Discord server as well. You guys are always active there, so it's good to always see. Now, I'll put links to everything in the show notes down below. So if anyone wants those links directly, please check them out. Jump on the platform, give Fluid Tokens a go. If you have any interesting NFTs and want to unlock some of the value, go ahead and do so. It's a very easy platform to use. Matt, Raul, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. It's been a pleasure learning a little bit more about you guys and also more about the platform as well.
Thank you, Pete. It's been our pleasure.
So if you want any of the links and references down below, you can find them all or on our website at learncardano.io. There you find all the show notes, references, links, and a little tutorial on how to actually use the platform as well. So please check that out. If you really like this type of content, please consider giving us that thumbs up, click subscribe, click on the notification bell, and you hear more from me real soon. See you in the next video.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get it hype. Crypto is what we like, but this is not investment or financial advice. Gotta do your research, cause it's risky. We know it is. This show is educational and it's informative. Crypto's the future, really, it ain't no debating.